Good morning, Father Pat. Father Pat Garrett, our pastor here at St. Simon and Jude. I appreciate you stopping by and talking to us as you do. And Father, this weekend in our bulletin on Sunday, the folks over at Rejoice Counseling have provided us with a few tips to make our lives easier during the pandemic, especially those of us who have grown more accustomed to the inside of our homes, shall we say, a little self-quarantining and some isolation that we've been encouraged to do during this recent spike. And they've provided us with some pretty good tips, both sort of secular tips, if you will, and some more faith-based and faith-centered tips. Keeping a daily journal, finding time to encourage others, and using our strengths to assist others would be just a couple of them. But toward the end of the list that we've provided in this Sunday's bulletin are the faith-based tips. And the first one I know that caught your eye is the need to look for Christ in all things and always find the ways in which He has blessed you, especially or despite what we're going through.
Yeah, God is remarkable that, God doesn't create evil. He didn't create this pandemic. He didn't create the economic crisis or the social unrest and all that has stemmed from all this. But what God has proven over and over again is that He can help us work through evil. He can help us find blessings even amidst evil, right? The greatest of all evils, right? The death of Jesus Christ on the cross, right, became the greatest of all blessings through the resurrection of Christ. And that's what Christ was saying. That's what God is saying. That's that despite how bad things look, he gives us that promise of the resurrection. No matter what is going on around us, He gives us the promise of finding blessings. And I know, talking to people over the last few months, right, that we've all found blessings, right? The number of people that come up to me and now have a closer connection with family and things as a result of this pandemic, right? I know one person who just keeps talking about how his communication with his family who lives in California, right, has just increased so much during this pandemic. I would talk to my mom once a week. I've been talking to her every day. Certainly my mom has seen that as a blessing. I hope she's seen that as a blessing. Right there are blessings out there. We can't control everything in our lives, right? We can't control the pandemic. We can't control a lot of the economic fallout. We can't control the social unrest. We can't change the world, right? As I've said, we can't change the world, but we can change our world. And changing our world starts on finding those blessings, focusing on those blessings rather than focusing on all of the muck, all of the evil, all of the things, but just every day stopping and resetting and focusing on the blessings that were that day or the blessings that we can find the next day to see that those are truly there.
What about making time for prayer, mass, and devotion every day? That's another.
Daily. Yeah. Daily prayer is just so important, right? I mean, it's in prayer where we, look for those blessings, right? A daily examination of conscience, right? I'll tell you now, anyone who comes to confession with me, they're probably getting tired of hearing me give this penance, because I give it most of the time, right? It is to just do a daily examination of conscience, because I just think that is just so important, right? It doesn't take long. We can do it. It's a gut check, right? It's just a daily gut check. Where was I today? Was I frustrated? Was I happy? Was I sad? Where was I, and what caused that? And to ask God for the graces to, give me the love and give me the joy that I need for the next day, right? To review what I've got facing me the next day, and to really, really ask God to help me get through. That's what it's about, right? It's about taking it day by day, one of the things that the Rejoice Counseling said, right, is, you're not just there to seize the day, but, it's just to make it through the day, right? And that is what our accomplishment is here, right? Is that each day we need to do that examination of conscience. And I know I have those days, and I can tell it early on where, I just got up on the wrong side of the bed and I'm grumpy and nothing seems to go right. And I'm getting frustrated with everything. Before I go into a meeting, right, I warn people, look, this isn't going to be a good day, right? It's not being a good day for me. I'm probably, it's not going to be a good day for you. And I try to just avoid those things, but there are just some days, right, that it's hard not to get frustrated. It's hard not to, just be upset at every little thing. What causes it? I don't know. But that's where each day we've got to say, okay, Lord, this was a difficult day. I need your grace even that much more tomorrow, rather than to just let those frustrations build up and let, one bad day turn into two, turn into three, turn into a whole week, turn into a month, turn into this just being down through this whole pandemic.
One of the 12-step um, adages is one day at a time. But some days are so busy that you have to even divide it further in order to make it. I know today for me was quite busy, so I had to take it just an hour at a time and sort of compartmentalize myself along the way.
Yeah, St. Ignatius said we should stop and pray the examen prayer, at least 3 times a day is what he told monks. And the examen prayer is exactly that. It's examination of conscience, but it's also looking for these blessings, right? It's just looking for the presence of Christ throughout your day, both in the good things and in the bad things, right? And yeah, some days, we can get by with doing just one examination of conscience a day. At least do that as a minimum. But some days, we really need to stop and do it 3, 4 hourly, right? That's what it's about. Is that we need to just keep doing that gut check and seeing where we are and seeing what we can do to ask for God's graces, to pray for God's graces, to change the day, right? We can't change the world, but we can change our world, and we can change it hourly by hourly.
And finally, one other item that they put here on the list, I like it, makes sense, but it's kind of funny too. Don't put 12 items a day on your to-do list, put 4. Um, and,
Yeah,
and it's more manageable.
yeah. No, I mean those days that are frustrated, right, are the days you don't accomplish much of anything, right? Having just a few of those simple tasks that you can accomplish, right, is just so important, right? If you just keep having the list of 12 items and you can only do 2,
Yeah.
you'll just keep getting more and more frustrated, right? You gotta recognize that, yeah, okay, today I can only get these 2 things done, tomorrow just these 4, whatever it is, be realistic about what you can do, not try to conquer the world in a day, not even try to conquer your world in a day,
Right.
but just to conquer one part of it. Mhm.
Father Pat, thank you for giving us your time today, and have a good weekend.
All right. Thank y'all. Bye.